Welcome to Video Game Book Club, the show where we pick, we play, and we discuss a video game each and every month. I'm your host,
Yes.
JP, and joining me, as always, I have the baddest of them all, Ben Tizzle Toops.
I don't know about the baddest of them all. I mean,
Dude,
that's a little too generous, but thank you.
you're Bad Benny, and you're always gonna be Bad Benny to
Okay.
me. And that's foreshadowing for an announcement that we have at the end of the video.
Yeah, stick around.
Stick around for this one. How you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. How are you? Life's a little stressful right now. Some stuff going on that we'll talk about, but yeah, overall, not too bad. Can't complain.
That's good.
How about you?
I mean, good relatively.
Yes.
Life is super busy for me too. I actually have been working nights,
Hmm.
and today I switched back to days, so I'm a little bit like in the twilight zone.
Yeah.
This is sleepy time for me. Not really, but close. Ben, before we get started, I have a really important question,
Oh, okay.
and I
Let
think
me get
the
serious
yeah
here.
you should. The audience probably wants to know because
Okay.
then it'll show a lot about who you are as a person, a lot about who I am as a person.
I don't know
The
if I'm ready.
three people that listen to us will want to know.
Yeah.
My question for you before we get started and dive into
Okay.
our video game of the month is: were you a Guitar Hero boy or a Rock Band boy when you were a kid, or now still?
Can I give a third option? I was a DJ hero boy, bro. Do you remember DJ Hero?
No, what is this?
It was literally like a Guitar Hero game, but with like a DJ like turnstile deck. Like you never
There's
played
I
this?
literally
It was you
it
need to
wasn't
look
in
it
El
up. It
Salvador. I
was
grew up in El Salvador. We didn't have
you need
that.
to look it up. It's
That's
insane. It was super
crazy.
fun. But I played Guitar Hero. I played like I never owned a Rock Band. I owned Guitar Hero. Um, but I played Rock Band at like friends' houses and stuff.
Dude, I was not prepared for that answer. I thought you were gonna say either Guitar Hero, Rock Band, and then the audience, the three people that listen to us, was gonna like say, "Okay, I'm a Rock Band person,
Right.
Guitar Hero
No,
person."
bro.
But you,
No,
you're
bro.
like you have elevated.
DJ
You're the
Hero.
coolest. You're the coolest of them all.
It's slept on. People
That's
forget
so
about
funny.
DJ Hero.
That's so funny, dude. I definitely we were a Guitar Hero household,
Yes.
and it was mainly my two of my brothers and my dad and I played a lot. My dad
Hmm.
was always on the drums. He always every time he came home
Oh, I
from work,
love
he was
that.
like, "Put me on," in the
Love
drums.
that.
And then the other two wanted to be guitar the whole time, so I was always because I'm the youngest one on
Dang.
bass most
So
of
you
the
did the
time.
vocals.
Well, we didn't.
Tapping on the
No one wanted to sing too
microphone.
much, but I would either sing or do bass. Yeah, it was
Nice,
kind of
nice.
embarrassing, but
Love it. But why are we talking about rhythm
So
games?
I'm talking about a rhythm game because the video game of the month that I chose for July is Hi-Fi Rush, which is
Yes.
I looked this up. The description is a rhythm-based action game. Is the
Interesting.
full genre
Okay.
that might come up later, and why this, maybe we want to come up with something different for these types
Yeah,
of
that's a
games,
bit of a mouthful. Yeah.
But overall, Ben, why don't you tell me about this game and did you know about it a little bit before or anything?
I definitely knew about it. I so this game came out like a year ago, right? And it was
Early
pretty
2023, yeah.
yeah, so I remember there being a ton of, buzz for lack of a better term about this game. I just remember it being like super well received. A ton of people were playing it. I saw a few videos about it and stuff like that. But I just, for one reason or another, maybe I was busy, maybe I was playing other stuff. I never played it. But I remember hearing about it, seeing it, and hearing people, praise it pretty much. Yeah.
Same. I actually wanted to see if you Google Hi-Fi Rush or if you go on Steam page, what comes up, and it's overwhelmingly positive on
Yeah.
Steam, and then it's like 4.9 out of 5. If you
Hmm.
just Google it, and it'll be like I think Google does like a overall critic score review or something
Yeah.
like that, or magazines or whatever. 4.8 or 4.9. I was like, wow.
Pretty good.
That's very high. I
Yeah.
will dive more deep into maybe what I feel about the game, but I
Yeah.
think that's really generous.
Okay. Damn. All right.
But okay, Hi-Fi Rush, like we just said, it's a rhythm-based action game where you are this kid. Actually, he's 25 years old, so he's not really a kid.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So when I was looking up a few things about the game, I saw on a wiki article or something that Chai, the main character, is 25, and I was like,
25. He acts like he's
What?
14.
He's like 16. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? 25. I thought that was
He
ridiculous.
I think at the beginning, the maybe the intro cutscene when he like joins the oh man, what's the technology?
Project Armstrong, like the program,
Yeah, but the actual company is called something with a V, I think.
Vandalay.
Yeah, thank you. When he joins, I think he has an ID and it says age 25. And
Okay,
even
yeah,
then
I
I was
didn't.
like,
Yeah,
I remember when I started the game, I was like, oh, that's cool, like an older, not older, but like an adult like main character.
finally some representation.
Exactly. And then I was like, just kidding. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but he's super lovable and I really like Chai actually.
uh huh.
But Hi-Fi Rush, again, we follow Chai in his quest to become a rock star. Basically,
Yeah.
that's kind of what he wants to do. He has no guitar experience,
Hmm.
playing guitar experience, but he he wants to be a rock star. Is his dream, and he's determined to do it. So he goes to this basically company that can make any part of your body like kind of cyborg ish
Right.
and give you like a
The company, yeah. So I get the company is supposed to be just like this tech giant,
yeah
basically. But I think their like new project is these like cybernetic kind of hybrid things, which
yeah.
is what Chai's a part of.
And so Chai goes in and he is part of that testing feature,
Hmm.
and it goes wrong for him, and he gets implanted his iPod,
Yeah.
like kind of like in Iron Man way, in the
Yeah.
middle of his chest, and it gives him the ability to rock everyone's socks off with a
Yeah, I don't
guitar.
really know. The idea is there, but it's like I don't understand like the actual function. Like
Yeah,
it's like, okay, he's got an iPod, like he can sense the beat, I guess,
of
but
the
like
world.
I don't know. That it's obviously the like, specifics of whatever this technology is isn't important. But
It's not
yeah, I mean
important.
you're right. Like it's not like he's got an iPod, okay. Like I don't.
So that's the intro of the game. Ben, why don't you give me a synopsis of the plot all the way through? What happens in this game?
Yeah, so I would say a synopsis of the plot is basically once Chai gets this, cybernetic iPod enhancement. He is trying to get out of Vandalay, this like tech giant, basically. Um, and along the way, he meets, a cast of characters. We've got a lot of different people that I'm sure we'll talk about that kind of join the team. And it goes from being about just getting out of Vandalay to realizing that there's this like, spooky AI secret program going on within Vandalay, that the goal becomes to like shut down
Hmm.
pretty much. So it goes kind of from that basic setup to this like ragtag team against this big tech giant and their evil AI. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much the plot, I'd say.
Yeah, it's very like classic good versus evil,
Yeah,
corporation versus like the people, uh, and people like corporate workers that like turn on their like
yeah,
overlords. I was gonna say, but their employers technically, and it's really good, honestly. It's a simple but effective plot because the game doesn't really necessarily need the plot. It just needs the gameplay. It
yeah.
needs the action, it needs the rhythm, and it's the music, and it's incredibly stylish. So
Hmm.
the way that the gameplay functions, as Ben mentions, you're going through and you need to defeat this like corporation basically.
Hmm.
The way that works is there's six bosses, and each boss holds a key to the AI,
Yeah,
password or
it's like a
whatever,
cipher key,
to
like
decipher for
yeah.
Vectra. And then if you get the decipher key, all six of them, and you put them together, you can like shut it down. And
Hmm.
that way, every person that has a Project Armstrong like attachment to their body won't be basically mind controlled
Yeah,
anymore by
yeah, by
uh,
the spectra,
Spectra.
whatever it
And
is.
Kale, the guy who's like
The big bad
overseeing
guy,
the
yeah.
big bad guy. Yeah.
BBEG.
So you go through basically 6 or 7 levels. I think in total there's like 10 or tracks, but
Hmm.
technically, if you want to space them out, it's like intro and then 6 levels. And at the end of each level, you have a boss fight.
Yeah,
The boss fights are all very unique. None of them are the same, which I really appreciated. They're all
yeah,
unique, which in some ways it makes some of them be really good, and in some ways it makes other ones, not as good. But I really appreciate when games try something different. We don't want
Hmm.
the same boss fight 6 times in a row. That would be boring.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So what I have done is that I wrote down every single boss,
Hmm.
and I think it would be pretty good since this game is very linear. We all
Super
have the same
linear. Yeah.
experience basically playing the game. It's not like Animal Well or another perhaps Treasure where it's a little more open so we can have differing experiences.
Right.
Now it's all about perception.
Hmm.
How do we perceive the game? How did it impact us as we're playing it?
Yeah.
So I thought it would be cool if kind of like a book club. We go chapter by
Yeah.
chapter and
Let's
we
do it.
discuss the whole game basically.
Hmm.
So you start out in the intro
Hmm.
section, which is quality control, which I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
And so the first boss is called QA1MIL. I'm not sure exactly, the MIL part, but I we were both playing this game on hard,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was terrible at the game in
Mm.
the intro. I was not good. I was button mashy, and I wasn't methodical with like how I wanted to.
Okay.
I played Devil May Cry, and I in Final Fantasy 16, it has the same kind of gameplay. Final Fantasy 16, Devil May Cry, and this,
Sure.
except with those two, it doesn't matter how many times you press X. It's fine. In
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush, you need to be methodical.
Hmm.
So I thought it was hard. I actually, it took me a second to beat the first boss,
Yeah.
uh, especially because the QTE, I couldn't hit it
Oh
for the
yeah.
life
Yeah.
of me. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I didn't have the timing.
Yeah. It was the first boss. I like the two. I mean, basically a tutorial boss. Um,
Hey man, don't put me down like
no, I mean,
that.
no, but it's like it's a tutorial boss, but this game, like you said, this gameplay system is so different
Mhm,
than anything else. Like you can just button mash, but it's probably not going to work out that well. So if you are going into it trying to, really learn how to play the game basically and learn how to play in like an effective way, I can definitely see it being hard for
mhm.
sure. Um, my experience with it, I probably died a couple of times on it, maybe. Um, but I thought that boss, like in the area overall, was okay. Like it did a good job setting up the game. I feel like this is kind of something I thought about in other Crab's Treasure as well. Like it felt like they were still introducing gameplay mechanics like halfway into the
Yeah,
game, which
yeah,
I find like a little annoying, but I don't know. We can talk more about that
yeah,
later. But yeah, I mean, for a tutorial, it's whatever. Like, you get the gist of the game, you understand kind of vaguely what you're supposed to be doing, and it kind of introduces you to the world and stuff like that. So it was all right. And the quick time event I thought was interesting. I
yeah,
thought, like you said, I'm sure we'll talk more about, but like the different aspects that make up the different boss fights were all pretty cool. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
It was all right.
Overall, grade for this boss,
I don't know,
average.
like B minus.
B minus. Yeah, I was gonna say C plus.
Okay,
Just
just
like
yeah,
it
about
was
the
a
same.
cool intro boss.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
yeah,
need
and it
something
doesn't
fun
need to
like
be
that.
special. Yeah,
Exactly.
it just
I
has to.
I felt like though, in the there was a too much hand holding at the beginning,
Mhm.
and I think the hand holding of the game made it. And it's not hand holding as like the game is easy. It's more like they wanna. This is how you dash, and then
Mhm.
they make you dash like 10 times. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, like I played video games before, like
I know.
I can dash. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then it makes you go into like a little.
Mhm.
I don't know. Anyways, so because they hyper focused on teaching you every single button that you have to press, it like
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
it so that
It slowed it
it
down.
slowed it down a little
Mhm.
bit at the beginning. So it took a
Agreed.
second to get going, but I do have to say that in the second area, the boss is Rekka,
Yep.
and I really enjoyed that boss.
Okay.
That I think that's the boss, or finishing the second level is what got me hooked on Hi-Fi Rush. Like I think after I finished that boss, I completed the game in like 4 days or 5 days.
Okay.
Like I just went through it. I needed to because I was running behind with our
Yeah.
schedule, but also I was enjoying it very much. And Rekka, I have it pretty high. I have her pretty high in
Okay.
my. I thought she was so funny too. Just classic like big boxing kind of
Yeah. I
burly kind of person. It was fun.
yeah, I like the character design a lot.
Mhm.
But I wasn't hooked at that point. Like
Mm.
to me, like my feeling at that point in the game was like, okay, the combat. is interesting. It's reasonably fun. Like the plot isn't really grabbing me because it's just like, you know, a story we've heard a million times before about like little guy versus corporation, basically.
Yeah.
Like, so the plot wasn't grabbing me. The gameplay, I was just like, yeah, it's okay. So like the Rekka boss, I wasn't hooked at that point, and
Yeah.
I don't feel I got hooked until later in the game.
Yeah.
But that's also like, so I played the Rekka boss and the next boss Zanzo, I think,
Mhm.
and then right after I beat that, I got COVID. So I was on the bench for like
Yeah.
a week, not
Who
playing
was
the
on the
game.
sidelines?
I was on the sidelines. And so then after that, when I got better, I came back and played again. And then I kind of picked back more into it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was like a little break or whatever, or just like enjoying the second half more. Um, but yeah, I don't
Sometimes a break is good. Also, the game is just fun. Like it's
know.
just
Mm-hmm.
like a classic. Like if someone has never played a video game ever,
Yeah.
honestly, this is not a bad recommendation for their first video game. Just it's colorful, it's
Yeah.
artistically stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it has that comic book effect. Like they're so smart with the visuals, so
Yeah.
smart,
Yeah. Agreed.
and it makes it so engaging and so fun.
Mm-hmm.
So so yeah, but it's not super deep either. It's just kind
Yeah.
of like it's just
No.
what you take it out face value. Like whatever it
Yeah.
shows, that's the hand that it has, and you
Mm.
just vibe with it.
Yeah.
But speaking
Totally.
of Zanzo, that's the next one, and I was super frustrated with this one.
Okay.
I have this one as like the worst,
Interesting.
because technically there was no boss, right? So he
Yep.
has the. It's kind of funny though. I do have to say
Yeah.
that there's like a huge machine that he's about to like go in and kind of have like this final fight with you,
Yeah.
and then it just doesn't
Yeah.
happen
Because
because
the
he
whole
has no
thing is
budget.
like, yeah, I guess the like unique thing about that is that the boss is just the budget, and
The
it's
boss
like
is the budget.
it's kind
Yeah,
of funny. You're just like wasting money
yeah,
basically until they just can't do anything anymore.
yeah. Interesting.
Um,
Wasting money, huh? Microsoft. Okay, we'll talk about
yeah, we'll talk about that for sure. Yeah.
that later. Yeah, I felt like I kind of liked the level,
Uh huh.
but this is where they introduced the parry system,
Yep.
which again, you're like 3 hours into the game,
Yeah.
maybe, or
Totally. Yeah.
maybe a little more,
Yeah.
and it's just slightly annoying that like I was so much better at the parry than anything else in the game.
Okay.
Like the parry for me was like super intuitive, parry, parry, parry,
Hmm.
and that was was helping me with the game because I was putting my like special attack meter pretty
Right.
quickly. I
Right.
would fill it up, and then I would just use that. So it was, yeah, I was just like, just give it to me before. Also, it spends like 30 minutes teaching you how to parry, which I appreciate again. But it's
It
like,
does. Yeah. It
dude,
takes
I know
its
how to
time.
parry. Like,
Yeah. I know.
teach me once and let me figure it out. Like, let me struggle, let me die a couple times, and then find the timing.
Hmm.
Like the game, it's not a Souls game.
No.
There's no like penalty for dying. You just
No.
literally
No.
start over,
Yeah. No.
and
And
they give
sometimes you
you
don't
the.
even start over. Sometimes, like in the middle of a
Oh
boss
no,
fight,
yeah, like
you
you
keep progress. So
exactly. That's right.
super forgiving in that way,
So
definitely.
like let us struggle. Like
Yeah,
there's no penalty.
the
Anyways,
stakes aren't high enough to like have the tutorial be that in depth. I guess it's
yeah,
just like you're saying, just teach the mechanic and we'll figure it out.
teach the mechanic. Yeah. Anyways,
Like
but
it's not
Sanzo,
we're
so
not.
I
Yeah,
have it kind of low for me.
yeah, agreed.
I said funny ending though. Fell flat is my note. Is
Uh
the
huh.
note that I wrote.
Yeah,
Then we have my favorite, Corsica.
yeah, same, same,
Well, no,
definitely.
I don't know if it's my favorite. It's not my favorite boss, just my favorite. I love
I think
Corsica.
so too.
She's
Yeah,
so funny. I love her accent.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Corsica girly for
All
sure.
right.
The kind of like infiltrating the
Uh
office
huh.
aspect and kind of doing like sneaky
Yeah.
was kind of fun. There was a lot of like 2D kind of platforming,
Right.
which felt so much better than the 3D platforming. I hated the 3D
Yeah,
platforming.
that area of the game was definitely big on platforming
Yeah.
because like going up the towers and stuff
Hmm.
like that. I feel like platforming was more of a thing in the security
The
Corsica area
security part, yeah, yeah,
than anywhere else, pretty
yeah.
much.
I There's like two towers that you do. In one, you do it
Hmm.
as a
Hmm.
2D platform, and the other one, you do it like as 3D.
Yeah,
And yeah, the 3D just never felt right to me. Chai feels so heavy when he
I
jumps.
feel
Like
I
he,
got totally. Yeah, like there was a weird feeling of like you when you jump and go forward, it's like you don't really go like a distance. Like
No.
you just go up.
Yeah.
If you like you double jump and your character maybe goes like a couple of feet forward. So
Yeah.
like the platforming always felt awkward to me.
It felt
Like
awkward.
especially jumping between like platforms in the air, like I just always thought I was going to
Yeah.
miss it cuz it felt super unresponsive and like just like you weren't going anywhere. So
Yeah.
I was always like second guessing it, trying to figure out what to do. I don't know. It was weird.
The I felt the same way with a little bit with using the partner callouts, not in
Yeah.
fight, but outside of the fight. So outside of the
Yes.
fight, in
Yes.
fight they were great, and I really
Uh-huh.
really enjoyed that part
Hmm.
of the game. The and we'll talk about the mechanics after we go through the bosses, but outside, I mean, I don't know.
The
It's
only
just
one that was awkward for me was the
macaron,
macaron. Yeah,
dude.
I don't know
It's
why it was
so
so awkward. I
weird.
couldn't time
I
it
think it's
ever.
because I was really thinking about this because I hated it too, and it's just the animation. When you call
Hmm.
him,
Hmm.
it just takes like half a second or 2 seconds for him to like charge his arm back.
Yeah.
But the quality the QTE thing
Hmm.
starts,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like you
Uh,
can't press it yet. So
Yeah,
it
I would
just
have times where I literally probably had to try it like 6 times in a row just to get
same.
it. And it's so
Oh my
annoying
god,
because
it
he
was,
like comes in and then jumps out, comes in, jumps out, and it's like, oh my
and like he
god,
says something.
just hit the wall, dude.
Yeah,
Like
there's like
why
a quip like
this doesn't need to be on beat. None of the other ones have that. I mean, I guess Corsica's does. Like that's not
Corsica.
entirely
I
true
feel like also
with the
Corsica's,
generators.
yeah, but you only do it a
Um,
few times. Like
Only
that's
a
the
few
one that you don't
times.
do that
Yeah, only a
much.
few
And I enjoyed
times.
that one. It's like I like platforming. Like
Hmm.
platforming games are fun. The platforming in this game wasn't that fun, but whenever the Corsica thing happened, like and you had like to hurry it up, I feel like I did better than whenever I was trying to time it perfectly.
Yeah.
But no, but I agree. And then the quips from Macaron, like, guess you don't need me right now. I'm like, bro, I need you right now.
No, I do,
Come
dude.
on, guy.
And then,
Um,
so I don't know if you had any like bugs or issues with the game or anything like that. And so I was playing this on PC.
uh-huh.
I would have these super weird issues where the character call-ins just wouldn't register. Like I would be holding down right trigger or left trigger, whatever the button was, I forget. Um,
Triggers.
and like it happened the first time when it was first introducing this like call-in with Peppermint,
Yeah. Hmm.
and the game is like, all right, hold down left trigger, aim at the target, and shoot it. And I was like, okay, great. I hold down left trigger, and she just like comes in, jumps out. And I was like, what? Do it again, comes in, jumps out. And it just like
In
wasn't
fight,
registering. No, just during the like just in character
yeah,
uh call-ins, like her shooting a shield, and platforming or
yeah.
whatever. And it was this weird thing where it just wasn't registering like me holding the trigger, so it just wouldn't work.
Mm.
And I would have to like like exit out of the window and come back into it or something before it would work. I had like all these weird issues with the game, just like weird bugs that were not like game breaking, but just kind of annoying. I don't know if you experience anything like that.
No, I didn't. In that sense, the only thing that sucks. I no, I didn't have any bugs like that. The only thing that I hated and that I went to the options to fix was the camera. I
Mm.
So two things about the camera, and one of them is I like my sensitivity pretty high up. I felt like I maxed it out and it was still slow. Like
Yeah.
oh my god, turning around took forever.
Yeah,
For a game that
agreed.
kind of wants you to be like hype up and like
Hmm.
amped, with the beat. Oh my
Yeah.
god, just turning around was terrible. And then there is a feature that is on by default, which is when you attack, Chai will move to attack the closest person to you, or at least that's how it felt to me, the closest enemy to you. But there's an enemy later down that throws an umbrella that shields all the other enemies,
Yeah.
and then he starts like riding and running away.
Hmm.
So you can't catch him. So you have to hit the umbrella to break the barriers.
Hmm.
But what would happen is if you go to the umbrella and then all these characters are around you, all these enemies, then Chai wouldn't be able to hit anything. He
Right.
was like hitting this guy, and then he was hitting that guy, and then he was
Right.
hitting this guy. And I thought that was so annoying that I turned that off. And so the auto lock wasn't there anymore,
Hmm.
and it still happened. And it was
Oh, weird.
so frustrating. So
Yeah.
it didn't really help at all.
Yeah, the targeting. I had some weird stuff with the targeting too. Like nothing bug related. Just like it felt like exactly what you're saying. You're trying to hit a specific enemy, and he's like everywhere but basically. So yeah, I mean, maybe there could be an actual lock-on system, like something in like Dark Souls or whatever. But at the same time, I feel like they kind of wanted the fights to have that like hectic jumping around like
Yeah.
nature. So I don't know. I'm sure maybe they toyed around with it, tried or whatever, and just decided not to. But yeah, the targeting felt weird for sure sometimes.
Corsica though, pretty fun. I like that fight a lot.
I think it was my favorite boss fight
Nice.
because I think like I I enjoyed the like QTE parts of combat more than the actual combat
Yeah.
probably. Like the actual combat was fun and like, doing combos and parrying and stuff like that was fun, but I really enjoyed getting into QTEs and like the combos of like parrying and dodging and stuff like that to kill the bosses. I thought it was really sick, and I thought it, like I just felt like I was good at them for whatever
Hmm.
reason.
Dude, you're correct.
So for, for the Corsica fight, when it was like just that, pretty much, I
Yeah.
thought it was cool and I liked it, and I think I got through that entire fight like 100% without missing like a single button.
Did
It was
you
crazy.
catch her at the end?
Catcher?
Yeah, you have to catch her at the end.
Oh yeah, of course.
Dude,
I
I
think so.
missed
I
I
think so.
missed the catch.
I forget how you do that. Was it just like a button prompt or
Yeah, just a
something?
button prompt, like
Okay.
the same ring, and then when the two rings match, you have to press the
Yeah,
button.
yeah.
I like you. I felt the QT was super fun. I did pretty well. I did get hit a couple times.
Uh-huh.
So you're better. So
Yeah, I mean
you're
obviously.
cracked. But then at the end, you catch her or you don't, and I didn't catch her, and I think I got an
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
achievement. Because I didn't catch her, and the quips from the characters like, "Ooh, Jai, come on, dude." Anyways, I thought him bumping her head everywhere was
uh
hilarious.
yeah, that's
So
pretty
funny,
funny. Yeah.
relatable. Okay, next, Mimosa.
Hmm.
I loved Mimosa.
Damn, tell me why, dude.
The whole like concert thing was
Yeah.
so fun. It was
Hmm.
so on point with like Hi-Fi Rush, and it was the best music, I think. So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot of original music and there's some licensed music.
Hmm.
I thought it was going to be mostly licensed music. It wasn't. It's
No.
mostly
No.
original music.
Hmm.
But we're going to talk about the music a lot more in the second half. But
Yeah.
I felt that this was the best original music was in Mimosa, and I was vibing the whole time. The kind of like jazzy funk
Yep.
rock
Hmm.
was really doing it for me. And then I thought the fight was great. The two phases with the dress being like the kind of like who you're fighting.
Hmm.
I thought that was really smart. So I really enjoyed it. And then the crowd cheering you on as you're like making a combo and all that. It
Hmm.
was, I don't know. I think that was the peak of the game for me. That
Okay.
probably peaked there. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I totally agree. I think the fight was super cool. I think the music worked best in that fight than I think it did like anywhere else in the game. Um I yeah, I don't have like a ton of thoughts on that fight besides what you already said, but like yeah, I mean it was cool. The area leading up to Mimosa, like the museum, I guess.
Hmm.
I hated being like stuck in like the little expository like museum setups basically with like where it gave you the backstory.
Oh,
It was like,
I
why am I getting the
yeah,
backstory now? The game's almost over. Like,
yeah.
and we're just learning the backstory. It's weird. But yeah, but I feel like from that point on, the game got really rushed.
Oh yeah.
Like the ending of from Mimosa on, it felt like was super fast.
Roquefort was quick too.
Hmm.
Just to touch on the backstory, I did not read one single blueprint in the
Yeah,
whole game.
I did
Not one.
towards the beginning, and then once I feel like they were all. It wasn't even really exposition. It was all just like jokes, basically.
Oh really?
And so I was like, okay, I don't really need to read these. Like they were just like jokes about the environment. Like there would be a couple. I remember one because like when you're going through the stages and stuff, there's like arrows pointing everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And there was one like little blueprint email, whatever, where it was like Vandalay Technologies Aero TM must be everywhere. We cannot have workers getting lost anymore. The arrows must be everywhere. So I thought it was kind of a funny way to like, incorporate this being a video game and
Yeah.
like telling us where to go, but it's like, no, this company just has like dumb robots that need to know where they're going,
Yeah.
basically. So that was interesting. Um, but yeah, I didn't read a ton of those either,
Mhm.
so I don't think you missed a lot.
I tried to find them, I
Mhm.
because the completionist in me, like I wanted to find all of them, and I did a pretty good job. But I would press circle and then
Yeah,
exit
yeah,
immediately.
yeah, pretty much.
And then we're gonna go through Roquefort
Hmm.
and Kale. But out of kind of like what you're saying, the rush part of it, I felt the same way. I remember everything almost about every single level up to Roquefort and Kale.
Mm.
Roquefort and Kale, I just remember the
The
boss fights.
fight.
And Kale wasn't even a level. It was just you went straight
No.
to the boss fight
Hmm.
after Roquefort. So it's two boss fights in a row basically.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was super rushed. Like I don't remember
And there's
nothing
literally
stuck to me.
there's literally a point, like, because you finish with Mimosa, I guess, and then the story moment is like, you know, Kale and Rookfor are locked in the tower. There's robots surrounding the tower, and we can't get in.
Mhm.
The solution is put Chai in a cannon and shoot him into the tower.
That was pretty
And it's
funny.
like, oh, but the cannon is like heavily guarded. We got to get to it. And then the game literally just snaps to you at the cannon.
Yeah.
And they make a point of it. Like they're like, oh man, what an intense battle. Here we are at the
Yeah.
cannon. And Chai looks at the camera and is
Yeah.
like, we're not going to talk about this
Yeah.
again. And it's like it was funny, but it's just like smacking you in the face like this is rushed. Like
Yeah.
there clearly something got cut here.
Yeah.
Some kind of content got cut. So I don't know.
The developers did the best that they could with it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. That's why maybe it just didn't stick with me. How did you feel about the fight though with Roquefort?
So Roquefort, I thought the Roquefort fight was really fun, but I feel like it dragged on. Like you had to do this. It was the same fight like three times in a row, basically.
Yeah,
By the end of it, I was like, man, just come on, like just be done, please.
completely agree.
Because I
Completely
thought it
agree.
was, I thought the idea was super fun of like the big bad wolf,
Yeah.
basically, and then the music was really
Oh,
good.
the
I
music was
liked
so
the
good.
like the kind of remix classical music. I
Yeah,
thought was sick. And then
Wolfgang,
yeah, Wolfgang exactly.
Fifth
And
Symphony, I think.
I think so. But and so you kill like the big bad wolf, and then it's just back to this guy. And I was like, oh, that's smart and fun. You get to
Yeah,
like beat him up, but then you have to do it again and again, like two more times to actually finish the fight. Um,
and the
so
last,
I felt it dragged on. I don't know.
yeah, the last part was good too. Like I enjoyed being in the pit with all the gold, and it
Mhm.
almost looked like Smog's lair, like in The Hobbit,
Yeah,
with all the gold or whatever.
yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I think Roquefort kind of mid tier for me just because
Hmm.
it dragged on so much. If it was just
Right.
like one phase two or two phase max, it would have been good.
Hmm.
But three, and then finally we get to Kale.
Hmm.
So the Kale fight
So you
was
said you struggled on this fight.
I got my ass kicked on this fight. I think again up to this point, like I was focusing, and we'll touch on how we went about playing the game
Hmm.
right after this, but I was combo mania. I mean,
Okay.
I memorized all the combos, just kind of like in again Final Fantasy 16 and Devil May Cry. I just love like to start a combo on the ground and then do launch them in the air, do the
Hmm.
combo in the air, throw them on the ground, grab them again, do another combo, just never stop comboing
Yeah.
was like what I enjoyed, and that part of the gameplay was so fun because you had so many tools. I actually felt like I could have done more combos. Like I was like, give me more combos. I want to learn all of them.
That's so crazy.
But then, like, I was literally that's why my score in every level was giant. I was always S tier score, but my timing, my God, my timing was so rough,
That's
dude.
so funny. I was literally the exact opposite. The exact opposite. I would always have S timing and like, A or S time to clear or whatever. And my score would be like C. And I was like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
I would dream for an S timing. I was
Oh my God,
like B
dude.
or C always. B was good. If I got B timing, I got D so much. I got
Oh
so
my
many D
God. This man is
timings.
trash.
I
This man
know.
is
And like
trash.
I would tell myself like, especially at the beginning, I got better. Like I got a lot more Bs at the end, but at the
Yeah.
beginning, the first
Yeah.
like three levels maybe, dude, it was D and C only. and
That's
then S
so
and S.
funny.
S clear time, S score,
That is
G.
so
So
funny.
all my scores, overall scores, were like B's or A's, mostly B's.
Okay. What do you feel like was the issue with the timing for you?
I think just I'm button mashy. I don't think it was
Okay.
anything that the game did wrong. I think literally the whole world moved to the beat.
Mhm.
So it was just me being like I have all these combos in my head that I want to do,
Yeah.
and I'm one of those people that like I just press the button, and once the hit registers, then I switch to the next button, and I just keep pressing it.
Yeah.
And you're not
Okay.
supposed to do that. You're
No,
supposed
yeah,
to
yeah,
press
yeah.
once and then press once again. And I like okay, one of my favorite combos was like you when you're swarmed by a lot of enemies, you do like it's X Y Y Y, and
Mhm.
then you do a final Y, and then you do like the three cannon hit, and it
Okay.
just oh my god, it hits everyone, and it's such a good combo. And yeah, I would just press X once, and then I just literally would mash Y the whole time. You
That's
know, so like maybe
awesome.
the X I would hit it right, and then the Y it was just mashy until the end.
Gotcha.
So that one was really good. Kale, I mean, you just need to be better about parrying timing. Which again, the
Mhm.
parry I felt like I was okay at. I was pretty good at it, but I just couldn't get him low enough because my damage multiplier wasn't getting high enough because I kept
Right.
missing
Right,
the
yeah.
timing.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So the fight lasted as long as the Roquefort fight for me against KO, even though he's like a two phaser, you know.
Mhm.
So I struggle with it. I died a lot, but then I think one of the most annoying parts of the game for me in the fights was the fire too. I just got hit
Yes.
with the fire all the
Yeah,
time, and
that
then I
was
was like, "Oh
annoying.
my god, just
Definitely. And
give
all
me burn damage
especially
instead of like the having to put out the
like
fire."
the bigger enemies with fire weren't an issue, but when there was the fights where there would be like 7 or 8 little enemies all running around with fire attacks, I felt like I was just on fire like every
Dude,
5 seconds. It
yeah,
was annoying.
it's so annoying. So I have KO as. Oh, sorry, I really wanted to say this.
Okay.
Roquefort has the best quote in the game, and I wrote it down.
Okay.
And it's, "I invest in futures, but not yours, kid." And
Yeah,
that is
that is a good one.
so good.
Yeah, that's smart.
But then with Kale, one thing that I have was the whole game is fun. It's colorful. It's flashy. They make fun of like the bosses and everything.
Mhm.
Kale, Kale's fight is not colorful. It's kind of like bleak, and you're like in this platform. It's raining. It's dark, and
Mhm.
he's just like corporate overlord. So I just made a note to say that like you know a game that is so flashy and artistic, the last fight was like not really flashy and artistic, and it was just like way too serious.
Yeah, regarding the so back to the plot of the game for a second. Did like the end of the game twist about Peppermint being like his sister and stuff? Did that catch you off guard at all?
Not really. At the beginning of the game, there's like a moment where
Yeah.
Chai says something about
Yep.
peppermint, and then he goes peppermint,
Hmm.
peppermint, and I was like, okay, they know each other.
Yeah, for sure.
The mom and them being siblings, it wasn't like a surprise. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
cool.
no, I feel the exact same way. There was I don't know if it was the same moment or a slightly different one, but like it was in the first quarter of the game, and I was like, oh, they're siblings. Like
Yo, okay, well, so you knew, yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
I was like
I
obviously.
didn't say in my head like, oh, they're siblings, but like I was like, I mean, they
Yeah,
know each
yeah, and they also like I think what happened is there was like a line of dialogue that like insinuated some sort of connection, and then I just looked at the characters and they just look the
other. Yeah, I
exact
mean, yeah,
same.
yeah,
They have the same hair and the same color eyes, so I
yeah.
was like, okay, well that's the twist.
That's the twist. So that's all the fights. So Mimosa and Corsica, very
Hmm.
crowning.
Yeah.
Excuse me, as the best. And I want to talk a little bit about the exploration of the game before we get into post game, and then
Okay.
we'll take a break. Um, I I think when I started the game, I thought that was really fun that there were so many secrets hidden in every single level.
Hmm.
And I think that lasted about an hour. And then I was so annoyed with the exploration because the game is meant to be just an action game where you're just fighting all the time.
Yeah.
And running around collecting 10 gear
Hmm.
was so annoying. I'm like, don't give me gear on the floor. Give me more gear when I fight like
Yeah.
monster or
Yeah.
robots, and like don't make each fight like a room where okay, you're fighting now, and then you're
Yeah.
done with the fight. Okay, explore.
Mhm.
There's not a lot to explore. First of all, I mean, I found a lot of secrets and stuff, but like the graffitis, and all the upgrades and stuff. But like, I just found myself sometimes running around for 3 minutes straight, not doing one fight at all, and just collecting like 500 gear that isn't even worth anything. It's worth like
Mhm.
1%
Yeah.
of an upgrade.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know. I think the inspiration fell flat.
Yeah, I agree. And like there was a few like you couldn't even really call them side quests, like little like sometimes you'd find a robot with like a line of dialogue, and if you like destroy an item or something, they have a new line of dialogue or
Yeah,
something. But there's no real side quests. Like there's a few collectibles like the graffiti like you said. Um there's like, items you can find like health tanks and stuff like that. Um but yeah, I mean, at a certain point, I feel like I just stopped caring about the
mm.
upgrades. Like you said you're the combo king, self professed, you're the combo boy. I was the total opposite. So I had maybe 3 or 4 combos in my head, and all I
Oh,
would do is do those combos, but like exactly on the beat.
yeah,
And so like I didn't care about unlocking new combos. Like I was like, I'm not even gonna remember them. And like I would unlock a few new combos here and there, but I just wouldn't use them.
yeah,
So I didn't care about unlocking those. The special attacks I had. I think I used the Corsica one, and then the one that just gives you a health boost, basically,
yeah.
because it
Same.
was really useful in the
Super
fights.
useful,
Um, like the chips, I didn't feel were a huge like gameplay buff or
dude.
anything,
The chips make no sense.
but there were like I don't know, I feel like there were too many mechanics in some ways. Like at the end of the game, I like it felt like you have the three, characters you can call in to do the special moves and stuff. You have your own special attacks, you have combos you're pulling off it, and it just it the end game like fights, not the boss fights, just like end game enemy encounters felt like way too busy for me.
Yeah,
And so like I started like I was just looking forward to like the quick time events and stuff like that, because I was like, at least I can just do those.
yeah,
Like I don't have to be cycling through 3 different abilities, constantly trying to hit enemies when I get a chance. I don't have to like, be monitoring my energy meter. I'm doing my special attacks. Like it when it got to that like true end game, it felt too busy.
yeah,
Like there was just too much going on. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know if you felt the same way
I
or not.
agree. I mean, it's so much. Okay, well, first of all, you didn't unlock all the combos. That's crazy. I unlocked
No.
them all
No.
the combos, all the partner combos, and then I didn't do all the special attacks because, like you said, I only used like
Yeah. Yeah.
two. And so that left me with a lot of upgrades left on my like stats and stuff,
Hmm.
just because I focused on getting all the combos. And I did try them all. Like I would go in training, try them, memorize them, and then go do them.
Yeah.
But I did feel it was super busy. The fights are just structured in such a way that it's not super fluid.
Hmm.
There's a cute animation with 808 and and chai every time like you finish like a phase of a fight and then you
Yes.
go to the next one.
Uh,
But yeah, like sometimes they would just throw like five dudes that needed to be their shields needed to be broken in the
yeah.
fight, and it's like okay,
Yeah.
like it's just you're just running around using
Hmm.
macaron every like 30 seconds because his timer is so long, and then
Yeah.
you're just kind of like we just wait.
What was your favorite like non-boss enemy?
That's a good question. I really enjoyed uh, the bird, the flying bird,
Oh yeah.
just because I hated finding the bird. I like that like macaron could grab it and then you can do like with a different partner like you could hit it.
Yeah.
That was fun. I like that QTE because it had like it had like circle and then dash, circle,
Mhm.
circle, circle or something like
Mhm.
that. And I really enjoyed that one. What
Yeah.
about you?
Mine was I think the samurai. It
Oh,
was
dude, yeah, that's not
it was so hard. Like it's a
yeah,
hard
yeah,
enemy,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I thought the design was cool. I thought the like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure like
yeah,
call out
yeah.
basically where he like throws a sword down
And then
and
it
like
has the characters
yeah,
come
and
up.
then you
So
have
good.
to like hit the combo or whatever. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
And the design, yeah.
I think I totally agree. I was gonna ask you that in the question set, but you know what? I'm
Ah,
not asking you that anymore. So whatever.
spoiler.
um, let's talk a little bit about post game.
Yeah.
So did you do any post game?
No, I got the credits and turned the game
Okay,
off.
probably. I would have done the same, but I was like, let me try it a little bit. As soon as you finish the game and then you boot back up into the hub, you're hit with like a million freaking like hint or tip
Oh
boxes
my
to
god.
explain how the post game works. And I don't know if you noticed, I'm sure you did, in the hub, you could maybe change the characters' outfits.
Hmm.
But in the whole freaking game, you don't get one
No, no,
outfit
no.
upgrade
Yeah,
at all.
no.
And it's so annoying. I was like, when am I going to get these upgrades? I thought I was missing things exploring. And I was like, I'm
Yeah.
being very thorough, you know? Well, that's post game stuff.
Okay.
So basically, you can, this is how post game works. You can redo every single level,
Hmm.
every single fight, and try to get a better score if you want. Also, that lets you have to explore again, or you can explore again, which is annoying because again, the exploration isn't super fun, but it tells you what you're missing. So if you're missing like a level gauge over here, a health
Gotcha.
gauge, I mean, you can go get it, and you know kind of in what area it is.
Gotcha.
So you can do that. That's one part of it. Then there's two mini game. Well, there's more than two mini games, but there's two like games that you access through the arcade. So there's an arcade now, and one of them is called BPM Rush, and the other one is I don't know, something similar.
Hmm.
And basically, what you do is you BPM Rush is the one I enjoyed the most. You go through progressively harder and quicker BPM levels in a row, and
Oh,
you can't die. And then if you have to like hit things at the beat of that level, so you start at like 135 BPM
yeah.
or maybe 125. I don't know. And so as you hit the BPM or like on beat your combos, the more you do that, the more that meter gets full. Once it gets full, a boss comes in, you fight the boss, and then you go to the next one. So you do like 125, 135, 145, 155,
Hmm.
175, up to like 200.
Damn.
And I gotta say, whenever I was like in the 180s, in the 170s BPM, that's when I was steamrolling through levels because that's how fast I was mashing the
Oh
buttons, you
my
know?
god.
Because I didn't change. I did not like get better. I mean, I got slightly better, but I didn't care about the
Button mash
hitting
king,
on beat.
dude.
So I smoked through those levels, and then the ones that are like a little bit slower, I was struggling. You know?
That's so
So that's
funny.
BPM Rush. I thought I did so well. I got like an S score and all that, and it gave me a C rank on normal or easy, and I was so mad. I was like, whatever.
See, I feel like that's something that could have been incorporated into the game more, having levels with like different BPMs. Because I feel like they were all maybe there was a few differences, but I feel like they were all the same.
Yeah,
Just like
there's two. There was two
yeah,
levels. It was 155 and 130.
okay.
It didn't
I feel
sway
like
from
I
that.
feel like that was an opportunity to like
Yeah,
mix it up.
I
But
completely agree, but that's something that we're gonna touch on when we come back
oh
from
my
our
god, I
break.
keep spoiling, bro.
I have all these questions, and come on, man. So we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna be back, and we're gonna answer listener questions. We have a bunch of listener questions this
Let's
time. So thank you so much
go.
for everyone who follows us on Instagram and on YouTube and on TikTok. We appreciate you,
Yes.
and we're gonna throw our ads later. We'll be back in a second. Welcome to the second part of the show where we answer questions from listeners. You can follow us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at
Yes.
Buenale Games. Buenale, if you know Spanish, you know what that means, but if you don't, it's Buenale. Buenale.
Hmm.
It means good job or like,
Good job.
good stuff. Um, and we have a lot of listener questions, and I left the listener questions over there. So can you
Oh,
hand me
oh,
the listener
oh.
questions? Here we go. Thank you so much for everyone who submitted questions. Really,
Yeah.
it means a lot.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So thanks, and keep doing it.
Yeah, keep a lookout. The For next month's game of the month will be towards the end of the month. Again, same thing we did. We'll do some Instagram stories, TikTok posts, or something, fielding questions. So if you have questions about our next game, which we'll reveal shortly,
Ooh, ooh,
you can
ooh.
ask them there.
Uh, put some bets on what game it's going to be. Okay, so we have our first question from at Max J Gold from Instagram. Why did Bethesda close the studio that made this game?
That's a good
That is a
question.
good question.
Why did they?
I have to say though, Microsoft closed the studio
Uh-huh.
technically,
Is
not
that true?
Bethesda.
Okay.
I think. I mean,
Yeah.
because Microsoft bought Bethesda, so ultimately, probably Microsoft made the decision. They closed four studios on the same week or so.
Yeah.
Arcane was one of them.
Hmm.
Tango.
Yep.
GameWorks was this one, and two more that I can't remember.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is?
I mean, I think it's obvious, right? They're trying to bring Skyrim to the Sega Genesis. They need their resources for that, dude. I think it's obvious. No, I mean,
I thought you were gonna be so serious. You're so unserious.
no, I
That's so
mean,
funny.
like, I don't know. They're the evil corporation in the game, right? They're trying to save money. Like, what I find weird is that you mentioned like there were a few closures, right? And
Yeah,
I'm sure some of the developers got hired on at Bethesda and stuff, but like the studios that closed were, one of them had just put out Redfall,
yeah,
which was a total
it
disaster
was.
and probably cost them millions of dollars. And the other one is the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush, which is like probably the best game Bethesda's been associated with since Skyrim.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, it's just weird to me.
yeah,
Like, I don't know what they're doing, like trying to save money, but like that's not the way to do it. And it's such bad PR too,
yeah.
such bad PR
It's
because
terrible.
coming off the good reception of the game. But I don't know. Did you look any more into like
A little bit.
actual reasons and stuff?
There's not like a concrete answer, but I have like my theory. But
Okay.
I do have to say, like, I feel so bad for the developers too, because they had
Yeah,
just ported the
of
game to
course.
PlayStation. So they
Oh.
ported the game to PlayStation. The game released for uh, Xbox and like PC,
Hmm.
and then it took a year because of because it was Xbox exclusive. Then they ported it to PlayStation, and then like a month later they closed the studio. So they were just waiting for that to happen, and then they closed it.
Oh man, wow.
So I to go back to like the game, corporations and all that. This is a Sanzo versus Roquefort
Yeah,
situation.
yeah, true.
They were like, we don't have enough budget, and you guys are spending all the budget, even though what they're doing is just being creative and like making games, which is what we want, right?
Yeah,
And Microsoft was like, no, you don't make enough money, so we're just gonna close it down. I think that Microsoft has acquired every single company recently.
pretty much. Yeah.
It's to me, it seems like they don't really care about making more hardware. They just can't care about making more software because that's what games.
Hmm.
That's what brings the money. I think that they want to keep like live service games
Yeah.
rolling. That's
Hmm.
what makes money right now. Like that's
And
what
and this isn't
people
one of
play, and
those.
this is not one of them
Yeah.
exactly. And all of these
Yeah, it's a
studios
shame.
made like first like one player games basically.
And it's so unfortunate because this is the type of game that needs to have a big studio
Yeah.
behind it, because you're not going to get the clearance and the publishing rights for the songs that they have in the
No.
game without having that like corporate might behind you. Like,
Yeah.
for an indie studio, it's just not going to happen.
Hmm.
So it's such a tough spot to fall in.
No,
Yeah.
it's terrible, and they're just gonna keep doing it. I mean, they're gonna
Yeah.
thin out until they have like enough money that they can say, okay, we're profitable now. But
Yeah.
gaming, I don't know. It's in a weird spot right now. All these AAA games cost hundreds of millions of dollars to
And
make,
they're all awful.
and yeah, they're terrible. Microsoft is putting them on Game Pass. Game
Hmm.
Pass isn't making. I mean, Game Pass is making a ton of money, but it's not making enough money to cover all these games, and so
Right.
they just okay, your game didn't do that well, you're done.
See ya. Yeah.
Not even like have a second try or something. So it's unfortunate. Hi-Fi Rush, I think, also had it was unfortunate and fortunate for them that it was released on Game Pass
Hmm.
because I feel like probably more than 60% of the people played it on Game Pass for technically free, and so I think that kind of hindered their to show Microsoft, hey, we like made this amount of money. I feel like they're like I don't
Yeah,
know, they're looking at
they don't
a
have
different
that
game.
same tangible,
Yeah.
right.
So,
Right.
anyways, I think that's why. But thank you, Max J Gold, for that question.
Shout out Max.
Shout out, Max. So I have a second question here from Roberto NB95.
Love it.
What's up,
We
Roberto? I know who you are.
know who you are.
How impactful is the music on the overall experience of the game?
Yeah, great question. I
Hmm.
mean, so I think there's a couple like avenues to answer that
Yeah.
question. So I think, like you, I went into it thinking it was going to be a lot of like actual songs,
Hmm.
and that's not really what it was. Like, for most of the game, the music just came in the form of like kind of beats,
Yeah.
right? Just like kind of produced beats in the background. And they're cool beats, but I mean, they kind of just fade into the background when you're in it. And
Hmm.
like they basically just serve for the beat mechanic of the
Yeah.
game, basically. So that to me it was like whatever. But I think the when they incorporated the actual songs with like, chord progressions and vocals and stuff into the big moments, I
Hmm.
think it worked well.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it?
Completely agree. I honestly, I felt that the original songs, they were like bland to me. Like
Yeah,
every
yeah, I
song
agree.
was bland,
Mhm.
except maybe the Mimosa. Like I think Mimosa they just turn it up a little bit, but even still, like I right now I couldn't be able to hum
No,
that song, any
no,
of the
yeah,
songs.
yeah, pretty much.
I think the licensed songs that they incorporated into the boss fights were awesome. I
Hmm.
think they worked really well. But yeah, I mean, they couldn't license 100 songs. I guess that makes
No,
sense. So they couldn't do maybe what they wanted to do
hmm,
and use a lot more songs.
yeah,
So yeah, it was kind of bland. But of course, to answer the question, the music is super impactful. I mean,
totally, yeah. I mean, yeah,
you need that, like you're almost like head bopping the whole time when you're playing the game, because that's what you
yeah,
need to do to have good score. I also think that like if you hit things on beat, it's kind of like it has the Guitar Hero effect that when you mess up a combo and you miss hit something, it kind of gives you like a tune or some sort of like the
mm,
song goes "Meh," a little bit, and
right, right.
it yeah, like it feels like the game is saying you suck. Like come on, hit things to the beat. So it's pretty
I don't know what you
impactful,
mean. I never got that.
dude.
I mean,
Oh, this guy never got nothing. I got it all
timing
the
king, bro,
time.
timing king. No, but I mean, yeah, I mean, the whole game is based around that mechanic, the
Yeah,
song beat mechanic. So I think for the incorporation, like, yeah, to answer the question, the music is super important, but it's not always impactful.
yeah.
I think there's a few moments like we've talked about where it's impactful, but a lot of the time it kind of fades into the background.
It comes out with a bang. The game.
Yeah.
It's super impactful with "Lonely Boy" by the Black Keys,
Hmm.
and then as you said, like Wolfgang Pit Symphony remix was great for. Then there's a Flaming Lips. There's Nine Inch Nails,
Yeah.
um, which I have a question for you. So we're
Ooh.
gonna go to one of my questions right now. If you could add a song or a full album to the game, what would it be?
Oh my god, I'm on the
I know.
spot, bro.
So take a second to think.
No,
Oh,
I think
you
I
know
think I have
already?
a decent answer. Maybe not. I Some kind of like electronic
Mhm.
music I think would be sick.
Yeah.
Like I really like Daft Punk and Justice and
Oh
stuff like that.
yeah.
I think one of those types of songs would be cool because I
Yeah.
think for the most part it was just kind of generic rock and roll.
Yeah.
Like they didn't really, maybe the Roquefort fight, it was kind of like an electronic spin
Sure.
on the classical music. Um, but something like that I think would have been cool because like I think it would have fit really well and they could have like an electronic boss or something. I
Hmm.
don't know. What about you?
To keep I so my answer is kind of like to keep with the rock and roll kind of 2000s songs. I bet you look good on the dance floor by the Arctic Monkeys, because I feel like that
Gotcha.
one would be really fun.
Yeah.
It's super high beat, so like me, I would be mashing the buttons
Yeah.
to the beat of that song. But
Yeah.
I just feel like it would be really good, especially like maybe on the Mimosa fight, maybe like on
Yeah,
the
or something
concert.
by Gorillaz. There
Oh,
could have been a banger.
dude,
I don't know what
yeah,
song. There's too many to pick from, but
yeah,
there could have been a banger for sure.
there or something. There is pretty good.
Oh, that would have been sick.
Yeah,
Yes.
there by Gorillaz. You should
Uh,
listen to it. But thank you, Roberto Nuila, Roberto NB95. Sorry, I don't want to out you for the
cut that. Cut that.
question.
Cut that.
And then I have another question by another listener at Juan Di Gus. Hi-Fi Rush or Jet Set Radio?
So I've never played. I never played Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
So this has to be your question, I think.
So I mean, you gotta go with Jet Set Radio. Jet Set Radio is so fun. It's kind of like like in the early 2000s, Tony Hawk,
Yeah.
1080 on Nintendo 64, Jet Set Radio on Sega Genesis, and all that, like, kind of blew up. All
Okay.
these, like, skateboarding, snowboarding, kind of like rollerblading, X game kind of, you know, games came out, and they were just so fun. It's just the nostalgia aspect of it.
Yeah.
I will always pick those games. They were the best. Even like the and there are different types of games. So like the ATV versus the M is it MX versus ATV games? You know what
Uh
I'm
huh.
talking about? The
Yeah, I do.
they're
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Jet Set Radio for sure. Just
Hmm.
bangers in music, and then really fun gameplay with like grinding on rails and going through cities and all that.
Yeah,
With like a Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I was a Tony Hawk Pro Skater guy though, to be fair. So
yeah.
not like a huge amount of game time on Jet Set Radio. But thank you, Juan Digos, for the question. And then I have our final listener question at Joe M. Ken.
Shout out Joe, number one fan.
Shout out Joe, number two fan over here. Should a specific genre name be given to rhythm games like this? Beat Light, Rhythm Souls, Funklevania?
I don't know. Does it deserve a genre right now? Like it's just a one game, pretty
Yeah.
much. Like I
Well, there's multiple games that are like this.
Yeah, true. Like I don't know, Parappa the Rapper or something.
And
Kind of.
Crypt of the Necromancer is one that comes to mind.
Okay.
Dang, there's I think that one has a sequel coming up, but yeah, it's a very it's niche kind
Hmm.
of. Listen, Joe, I love all the suggestions that you gave. Were so good. Funklevania, Rhythm Souls. Obviously, we're just having
Rhythm
fun,
Souls,
and
yeah.
that
Rhythm Souls kind of fits
Rhythm
this game
Souls.
well.
It,
Yeah, it
it just
does.
what sucks is that it's not really a Souls game,
No,
But
yeah, no.
or a Metroidvania. Beat Light is pretty good,
Uh-huh.
but no, I think like you, I don't think this genre has blown up enough, excuse me, to deserve like a specific name. I think a rhythm based action game is literally what it is. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe if you want to play it with that, like it can be like a,
Yeah.
how like Metroidvanias are now supposedly you have to call them search action games. This is like a rhythm action game,
Oh,
little
interesting.
a little shorter.
Maybe like there's beat 'em ups, maybe beat 'em up. that's
We found our answer,
that's
folks.
too
No, no, no.
corny.
I'm
That's
gonna
too
call. They're
corny.
gonna reopen the studio now because of
Oh,
that.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
they better give me a job then. I mean, come on.
Okay, Ben. Thank you so much. Again, want to reiterate. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah,
Who
shout out the listeners.
shout out the listeners. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you for taking the time to write in, and I hope you enjoyed our answers. And if you didn't,
Let us
sorry.
know. Call
Yeah,
us
let
out.
us know. Call us
Call
out.
us out. Call us
Yeah.
trash, bro. Call him trash. He is trash.
I was, dude, but like I was so good on score. I don't know, man. Come on. Okay, what I'm gonna do now, Ben, is I'm gonna ask you rapid fire questions about Hi-Fi Rush.
Let's go.
So, you ready?
Yep.
What's the best boss?
Corsica.
What's the best area?
Um, I don't know. Pass. I don't know. What do you think?
Best area? I think I really like Zanzo's and the
Yeah.
museum probably.
Yeah, I'd say the museum.
Like
I'd say
Zanzo's
the
area was
museum.
good. The boss was bad.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Favorite friend?
Probably also Corsica.
Okay. I was gonna say Seba. Remember Seba? Seba's like detective robot that's everywhere.
Oh, I think I only saw him once.
Oh, really?
That's
I found
weird,
him like
yeah.
4 or 5 times.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know what he does. It's just so funny. I thought he
Yeah.
was gonna do more in the plot, but he didn't. Favorite foe?
Favorite foe? Probably the samurai.
Samurai's good.
Samurai.
If you could have a different weapon, what would it be?
I don't know. What are some good ones?
Drumsticks for sure.
Drumsticks.
Dude, and you can throw them.
Oh yeah, I could be like throwing knives.
Exactly.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
I'm just trying to, what else music wise? A bass is not that different.
No, not that different. I don't know, like saxophone ranged attacks or something.
Dude, that's good. That's good. Would you be friends with Chai?
No.
Dude, it's same. That he sounds. I think I have a couple friends that are Chai like actually.
Probably. Yeah, call him out, bro.
No. We don't. I don't know him. Did you love the game?
I didn't love it.
Okay.
I didn't love it. I liked it. I didn't love it. What about you?
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then finally, this was not super rapid fire, but if you were to make a sequel, is there any mechanic that you would like to see implemented?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I know that sequel probably won't happen, but
No,
if it did,
unfortunately not. I don't know. There's so many mechanics in the game already
so
that I almost don't want to.
It's almost like
new
you
one.
can cut mechanics.
Like I just want to refine what's already there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did you have anything in mind?
Yes. So I thought a little bit about this. I'm putting you on the spot, So I
Yeah.
thought about this. So
Yeah,
I have
these are
good
hard.
answers. My answer would be And you actually said this
Oh.
earlier, so
Oh.
if you gotta get in there and think a little bit. But if there was a way to change the BPM in the
Oh
middle of a
yeah,
fight,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
if there was like a special attack that would increase it from 135 to 155 or
Yeah, that would
something,
be cool.
that'd be
Hmm.
awesome. It's in some combos that you can only do if you're like mashing or something. For people like me,
Hmm.
uh, something that would be really fun, especially because the dude has an iPod in his chest. He can play songs. Like it would be so
True,
fun
true,
if you
true.
can just kind of
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. I think that would be pretty cool.
No, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, some kind of variety with BPM and stuff would
Yeah.
be pretty cool.
Do you have any questions for me?
Um, what is your book report score of this game? We got to give our book reports.
I thought about this a lot because I generally am very generous
Yeah.
with reviews and stuff. If you look at my letterbox, I give every movie that I watch a 5 or a 4. I don't care, even if it sucks. I'm
Oh
like,
my
it
god.
entertained me for an hour and a half. Thank you very much.
That's so funny.
But I've been trying to, be good about, especially now that we're doing some reviews on Buenale Games channel. You should check them out.
Yeah.
I try to be a little bit objective. Like, is
Hmm.
this like,
Hmm.
did it change my life or not? This game did not change my life. I think it was really fun, but I think for me it's like a C plus, B minus,
Sure.
probably C plus. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, all right.
It seems harsh, but I think like if Animal Will is an A and like Another Crab's Treasure is like a B minus, yeah, I enjoyed those a lot more than or like a B. I think a C plus is probably pretty good. B minus on the best day.
Yeah, it's tough because like it's very well done and it's super unique and
Yeah.
super original. It's just like I don't know, it's almost like a tech demo. It's almost like
Mm.
look at this cool combat system.
Yeah.
Like the story's not that interesting. I mean there's moments I'm sure, but it's not groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Um, you know, the mechanic is super interesting, but again, it's just kind of that's it.
Yeah.
Like it's the platforming is basically nothing. The platforming literally just felt like I literally felt like I was just moving between fights pretty much, which is I mean what it was, but the platforming wasn't super interesting. So I'm probably around the same like area you are with like B minus.
B
Yeah.
minus.
Yeah.
I think C plus is kind of harsh. I think it's very interesting and unique enough.
Yeah.
Let's say B minus. When the game's rating, B
Yeah.
minus.
Boom, stamp
Boom.
it. Stamp it.
So now let's talk a little bit about this game. I mentioned this last time. I did a little bit of the post game.
Mhm.
100+ hours to complete the game. If you want to be a completionist,
No
it takes
chance.
100+ hours to do so.
Yeah.
And I just thought that is absolutely ridiculous for a game that is 10 hours, kind
Yeah.
of,
Yeah, that's
to
crazy.
add 90 hours post game to just get S scores.
But it's also kind of like it's not like, unique post game challenges. Like the post game is literally just like go do it
Do more
again. Do
fights,
it do the same fights but like do it
and
better
then the
this
mini
time.
games.
Mini game,
But
sure,
it's just
sure.
fighting more. It's just like the
Yeah.
most fun part of the game. They put it in an arcade, and
Um
maybe that could have been the game.
right. Like there's no like there's some games where there's super crazy like Pikmin 4 comes to mind where there's these like super crazy post game challenges. But yeah, I don't know. It like calling it 100 hours is feels like not disingenuous but just like I don't know.
This is too
Anyone
much.
can do that. Like the game can you can play the game the playtime can be as long as you want if you just play it 10
Yeah,
times in a row like
sure.
whatever, but yeah.
One of the achievements that I found incredibly annoying is that I'm sure you got it. So we both played on hard, and I
Mhm.
got the achievement of completing the game on hard mode,
Yeah.
but I didn't get the achievement for completing the game on normal mode. So I would have to replay the whole game on normal
Oh,
mode to
really?
get the
Oh,
achievement of
I didn't realize that.
finishing the game in normal mode, which is just like, no, I'm not like I would never do that.
No, yeah,
It's
no.
especially going down a level. Like I already played it hard, and I'm going back to normal. No
Yeah, and
thanks.
it's not like there's not a ton of replay. The replayability comes in like improving your scores. Like it's not like there's really other ways to play the game.
Yeah, and you
It's
don't want
like
to do the platforming again.
no,
So,
I really don't. I really
so my
don't.
my question, talking about completionists or 100% in games, is have you 100% in any games, and if so, what are they?
Ooh,
Or
that
maybe your
is
first
that's a good
100%.
question. I don't know that I like actually have.
Really?
I think No, I don't. I've never been a completionist. Like
Okay.
I've never. I play the game until like I feel done with it.
Yeah.
Like I've never wanted to. I've never had the feeling of like needing to check that box.
Yeah.
So I maybe I have, and I'm just not remembering. But I don't really think so. I don't know. What about you?
I love I love completioning.
Okay,
Completioning.
and that's totally fair.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
different people like to play games different
I
ways.
love achievements. I think a
Hmm.
lot of people, I get it. Some people like me, sometimes I get too focused on achievements and stuff.
Sure.
So maybe games shouldn't have achievements, and maybe it should be like an in-game thing and not like a overlay from Steam or PlayStation or Xbox or
Right.
whatever. The first game, I guess, the first game that I completed was some Pokemon game, and I like completed the National Dex, but we're not gonna count that. The
Right.
actual
Right.
game
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
can go
Yeah.
into my accounts and see 100%. The first one that I did was Jack and Daxter for
Hmm.
Jack and Daxter's for the PlayStation 2,
Nice.
but I got the pack or whatever for PlayStation 3. I love those games,
Hmm.
Jack 2 and 3 also. I completed Hades is my most treasured completed game. I love that
Nice.
game so much. I completed Wild Frost, which is another roguelike deck building game because I'm a roguelike deck building machine. I've completed God of War, the 2018 God of War. So yeah, I've done a bunch. Some of them have been worth it. Some of them have not been worth it. Uh, I love completing games. Yeah, I
Gotcha.
haven't done it as much anymore, but I used to. I used to be pretty like brutal about it. Like I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna sit here and play 15 more hours of a game that I'm definitely done with,
Yeah.
just to you know, just to keep playing,
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
get the achievements. I mean,
Hmm.
but speaking of, are we gonna 100% a game next month or what are we doing?
We'll see about 100%. We're definitely gonna play a game. We'll see. So so it's my turn. I need to pick a game. You picked Hi-Fi Rush, which was good. It was fun. We had fun.
Thank you, thank you.
Um, I think the next game we're gonna play is The Outer Wilds,
Oh
not The Outer Worlds. The Outer
no,
Wilds. They're
yes,
because
Ben.
very different games. But so if you know anything about this game, there are hours and hours of like YouTube video essays talking about how life changing, and I'm not exaggerating, like there's people feel this way, life changing this game is. So I've never played it, I've never spoiled it for myself. Like I always, I saw a couple mentions of it a few times talking about how amazing this game is. It's an indie game. um, so a little bit of setup. It's like basically you're an explorer in this solar system that's caught in a time loop. Like time is kind of reversing on itself, and your job as the explorer is to like unravel the mystery of why.
Okay.
And so I think it probably spirals from there. But really interesting game. I'm excited to play it. Some exploration, puzzle, stuff, aspects of it. I think it should be really fun.
I am so pumped, Ben. This is such a good pick. I am literally, I want to go play it right now. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
This is a game that I've wanted to play
same.
for, it seems like my whole life, even
Yep.
though it came out just a few years ago,
Yeah.
maybe more than a few years. But I've never had the time, or maybe I've just never like sat down and actually tried it. So
Yeah.
now, video game book club, baby. That's what we're
Let's
here for. So
go.
this is super exciting. That's a great pick, honestly. I feel like that's gonna be
Thank you.
life changing. I'm so pumped,
We'll see.
honestly.
Join us next month where you find out if it changed our lives.
True. Hundred
Speaking of
percent.
life changes, this podcast is going to be going through a little bit of a change.
What the hell?
So I'm moving out. My wife and I
Moving out of
are
my house.
are
No,
I'm
I'm kidding. You said moving out. It just sounds like you're
I'm
leaving.
moving out from where I am now. My wife and I are moving. We're moving out to California. So we're going to be out there. This podcast is still going on.
Mhm.
We got the video game book club. JP and I are boys. We're still going to be boys.
Always.
And, the book club is going to keep us coming together. We're going to be doing it remotely. It might look a little different,
Yeah.
but, the same jokes, the same goofiness, the same yapping,
Yeah.
and not knowing how to stop talking is going to be there. It's going to be the same show. It's just going to look a little different,
Yeah.
but it's going to be great.
Dude, I'm so excited for your new adventure in California.
Yep.
It's gonna be so fun. I'm gonna miss you so
Yes.
much, but as Ben said, this won't change the podcast
Nah.
much. We're just gonna do it virtually instead, and
Yep.
we'll honestly probably will have better lighting. So
Probably.
we'll still be
We'll see.
goofy,
We'll see.
and we'll have a lot of fun. And honestly, I mean, we'll see each other, and maybe when we do, we'll
Yes.
maybe record a little something
Let's
something
go.
for
Let's do
everyone.
it.
So
Yep.
don't think that this is like, it's not really gonna change that much. It's gonna change for us, not really for the podcast.
Yep.
Benny, what else have you been playing?
Just Dota. That's it. So we've been.
It's a
That's my
Dota
default
maniac.
answer, dude.
Yeah,
There's been an event. They,
for months.
Valve is going hard. Well, so they're rolling out parts of the event like once a month, basically.
Yeah,
So once a month, there's just this like whole new. It's basically a cavern crawl like system to explore. You just like play specific heroes to like advance to different parts of the map and stuff like that. But it's just I don't know. It adds a really fun like aspect to the game. Normally they do like battle passes to add cosmetics and stuff, but they're doing away with that and just replacing it with this like new gameplay system, which is sick.
that's awesome.
So there's just a lot of Dota to play, and also, preparing for the move, I just like haven't had a ton of time to sit down and play stuff that wasn't Hi-Fi Rush. So like when I have a little time, I'd want to hop on play some Dota. But
Yeah, dude.
now we got Outer Wilds, bro. We got to lock
Bro,
in.
oh my, I'm so
We got to
excited.
lock in.
I have a question that I don't think you've said on the pod yet for
Yeah.
the listeners. So I was a League of Legends guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never played Dota, but I'm sure there's the five uh uh play the five oh my god. What do you mean? What do you mean? The five mains.
Like roles.
Roles, thank you. Jesus. I haven't
I've
played a MOBA in a
become
while.
I've become like a versatile. Like I just play anything.
Okay.
I play every role and I just like fill in what the team needs pretty much. For a while I was like the carry, like the big damage dealer.
Yeah.
I played a lot of like the mid lane, like kind of playmaker, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. But mostly, yeah, I just kind of fill in. I like playing like the big tanky off lane
Oh my
sometimes.
god, that's funny.
What about you? What do you play on League?
I used to, so I don't play League anymore. It started hurting my wrist. I was clicking too much probably and not having good technique or whatever. So I stopped like years and years ago. But
Yeah.
I used to play. I used to jungle main,
Mhm.
which is like kind of like the playmaker that like
Damn,
goes through
I'm
every
kind
lane.
of judging you for that. Jungle.
Really?
Junglers are like so looked down upon in League.
Oh,
It's
really?
probably different in how it actually affects the game. But
You
in
like?
if you jungle in Dota, people are just gonna flame you out of the game, basically.
I mean, people were getting really mad, but I was a pretty good jungler, so I feel like I was trying to make things happen and like ganking and all that on all the
Yeah,
lanes to
yeah.
like help out the team. But then I switched to ADC to the carry, so I played carry most of the time. Like if you look at my stats, it's all carry stuff.
Yeah.
Not a lot of jungle. But I
Mhm.
started playing jungle. Shaco was my main, which is a ridiculous character to play. But in like early elos, like you can play anything
Yeah,
and win,
same.
So,
Yeah.
um, but I've been playing Into the Breach, and I've been
Oh.
having so much fun playing. I've been having so much fun playing Into the Breach that I haven't been playing Balatro that much. And everyone
Oh
knows
my
how
god, this man
like
is a
I'm a
fiend.
fiend on Balatro. But Into the Breach is another. I'm a roguelike guy. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm just that's why I'm excited for Outer Wilds too.
Yeah.
I'm a roguelike fiend, and I've always wanted to play Into the Breach because I am a sucker for like tactics games, kind of like
Right.
Fire Emblem and Final Fantasy Tactics and all that. So it's basically a tactics game. It's like a maybe 7x7 or 8x8 grid, and you just like go through different islands with like your little 3 robot team, and you
Mhm.
can upgrade them as you go through them. And if you die, then you just loop, and there's like 10 different teams that you can pick. They all play different. They all have different mechanics, and then you can do
Yeah.
random or you can like custom and make your own team. But it's been so fun. It's super challenging, and I just love that. Basically
Nice.
every level is almost like a puzzle.
Hmm.
There's all these enemies, then there's buildings that you need to protect, and then you're just trying to figure out how I'm going to protect all these buildings with like all these characters. And obviously, the more buildings get destroyed, the less health you have, and then you lose the game. So it's
Yeah.
been really fun. It's a great game on Steam Deck. So I've
Yeah.
been playing before bed. That's what I've been doing. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I probably put more hours on Into the Breach than Hi-Fi Rush this
Oh, I'm
month.
sure. Yeah. I mean, Hi-Fi Rush is like 12 hours.
Yeah,
Like,
so I probably put like 15 on Into the Breach and like 12
yeah.
or
No, I'm the
something
exact
on.
same with Dota.
Yeah,
Yeah. totally. With that, like not even
No,
close,
yeah,
not
yeah,
even
yeah, yeah.
close.
I did play a little bit of Elatro, but I was looking at the last time I played Elatro was like a couple weeks ago. So Into the Breach
Damn,
has taken
washed,
over. Yeah.
washed.
No, dude, I'm not. I got a couple more gold stakes in there. For those who know what that is, I've been doing better and stuff. But I think we've done it. So I
We've
just
done
wanted
it.
to thank everyone again for again the listeners for answering your questions. Uh, Everyone should tell their grandmother to please join Video Game Book Club.
Tell your grandma. Tell the
Tell
mailman.
the
The
mailman.
mailman might be gaming. You don't know.
As soon as the
Um,
mailman delivers, the mail person
yeah.
delivers mail,
Mail, mail
dude,
person. Yes. Thank you.
please.
Sorry.
The mail person delivers the mail. Just tell them join the club.
Join the club.
Hashtag join the club. No, I'm kidding.
Tell the
Join the
checkout
video game club.
worker at the grocery.
Yeah,
The checkout worker, get them to join.
get
Tell
them
them
to join.
about it.
Uh,
The butcher
the
might want to join.
if you buying some good pieces of meat,
Yeah,
just say it. Just hey, have you
we
heard of the
yeah
club?
we appreciate
Yeah,
cuts of meat around here.
we appreciate meats. We appreciate if you don't like meats too. Okay, relax.
Right,
We're
relax.
we're cool guys. Hey, we're cool guys. Okay. But thank you so much, and join us again next time on Video Game Book Club, August
Yes,
2024, Outer Wilds.
Outer
This has been super
Wilds.
fun. I'm JP. Bye.
I'm Ben. Also, bye.